All right, here we are in the first game of this semifinals match in the Alpha Navigators Cup finals for season two. This is going to be Aftermath's Theory in the Blue Infernal, and he was the number one seed into today's tournament after earning the most points over the season two weekly tournaments. And his opponent, here already having floated his arc ship to this third base location, is High in the red Celestials. And again, High, the fourth seed in today's semifinals, has earned his berth by defeating everyone in the elimination round yesterday. And I believe the finals, if I remember correctly, were against JXP. He had lots of CVC and CVV practice. Celestial versus Celestial and Celestial versus Vanguard yesterday, but today he's going to get to showcase his Celestial versus Infernal in all the matches he ends up in. If he wins this, of course, ending up into the winner's final. But if he loses this, he will be headed down to the loser's semifinal, where he will meet another Infernal, whomever loses the other semifinals on the other side of the bracket, and that is Snockstar versus MSRM. Another interesting matchup. So far, we see TheoRy has done some scouting, very thorough scouting with his Hexen. Went to all three locations to look to see what kind of collection arrays were set up, and indeed seeing that there were three bases. Now, TheoRy himself looks like that is a slightly later shrine. Yeah, he went Conclave first into his shrine expansion, and we already see some gaunts out on the map. And it looks like he's heading possibly towards the speed camp of, I will say high speed camp, because it seems like it's on high side of the map. And the only reason I could tell it is because of the weird pathing. His gaunts took the north route and his Hexen took the central route, and so that sort of suggested they might have been going here. And indeed, that's what's happening. He's going to try and creep this camp. Now, he's gone and fired that skull off. In the current patch, yeah, that's, oh no, there, it's still there. Oh, he did manage to get off. I don't know why when I'm trying to control my skulls like that, they always have this skull bug, and then I miss out on the skull. But in that case, it didn't happen. And TheoRy was able to dispatch those. Well, two more gaunts reinforced, and now he has a couple fiends with him, grabbing those lightning legs and speeding their way down straight to this. So he's maybe keeping his fiends back a little bit. Oh, maybe not that much. And he's going to try and put some DPS in on the collection array for some early harass. And it's not clear that High has much he can offer here. He lifts off, does a Sovereign's Watch, and then it looks like he's just going to immediately start mining again now that the pressure has left. A skull gets sent into the main. What does it spot? It spots the first vector as well as a Starforge, so it knows what kind of tech High is planning for, and then also gets down to the natural, sees a second Starforge, knowing this is going to be, at least for the moment, a vector play. And we also see that TheoRy is going to be retreating off that. Probably wise. The vectors are speedy and mobile, and they're able to pick off some weak gaunts like this one here. Now that poor gaunt, I don't know why he's so brave. Yeah, so good micro from TheoRy to get that weak gaunt a little bit out of the way. Ooh, unlucky with the splash damage there. We see the Hexen taking a lot of that. Ooh, and that gaunt unfortunately gets taken out. And this is what I'm talking about, the chaos with these Shadow Mastiffs, is because of their charge, they can unfortunately get damage when you don't expect it on some of your units, which means you kind of have to babysit your creeping units. And despite them being one of the easiest or earliest camps in the game, they are also one of the hardest, or one of the ones you need to micro the most around. And my good friend Frank thinks that more creeps need to have some kind of dodgeable ability like that they should all use, meaning basically just making creep fights a little bit more interesting. And I have to say, I agree with him. I think that would be interesting. These slimes, for instance, they also have an ability, but it's not one that you can really micro against very much. It's when they die, they explode and they give you that debuff. But if you're a melee unit, you're not really gonna, you know, you have to kill it, you're gonna get splashed. And so, you know, you can definitely keep your gaunts a little bit further back and such, but I feel like that ability is not quite the kind that Frank is talking about. So now we see these vectors have gone out on the map. Now I didn't quite see there. That might have been an evolution catalyst they used there. I don't know if vectors can pick off those on their own. That's just my own game knowledge. But maybe we'll see here. So they are lining up to take it again. If it was an evolution catalyst, they probably would have already triggered it. Yep, looks like it's just micro. Okay, so I see. Oh, wow. Okay, good, Mike. I was scared there. I'm like, I would have lost that. I don't have that much skill to micro it back when it's almost at 0. But yeah, so what we saw there was the delta jump ability in. What that does is it allows the recall ability, and the recall will allow those units to heal up. So they just sat in there, tanked up the damage while they focus fire down, and we saw as high microed back the ones that got low. Ooh, and again he uses that ability. He jumps on top of the units and then jumps back out again. Allows him to get some damage done. It looked like he was trying to focus fire down the Hex in there, but she did just manage to survive. Now I think the vector play is sort of an early to mid-game harass play. I don't know if it exactly becomes a late game comp. I mean, it can be useful in the late game. We see a cancel there from TheoRy. But we're probably going to see other Starforge units being added, or possibly we'll see some creation chambers also added. Ooh, and we get a scan, which allows the delta jump onto the other side. Now these vectors are going to be on top of these imps. One goes down already, and they're just going to try and pick off as many as they can here. We see recall, basically. What is that? Shroud step? Can't remember what that. Shroud walk is what brought those weavers back with their teleportability, and that was enough to chase the vectors away, but they did get some good damage on those imps. More vectors being added, so despite me saying maybe this is an early to mid game, this is becoming a pretty large ball of vectors. And we already saw that with these larger numbers, they can deal a lot of damage, and with their bonus damage being too light, do they still have that? Yes, so... Oh no, that's the air that has bonus to light. Their ground damage is no longer has bonus to light. Okay, so need to keep that in mind. Alright, they're going to use that ability again. Delta jumping on top and then focus firing down. Now what we notice is they're starting to have so much DPS there that they can just full-on focus fire those creeps down, and that means they're probably going to be able to do the same thing here for some of these units. These are almost all light units. One of them gets picked off with a lash there, but even the weavers count as light there. It's only the brutes that do not. And so if they manage to focus fire any of those units, they can probably pull them down. Oh, poor weaver, or sorry, poor vector there got stuck behind the chickens. Not sure what that was about, but couldn't path his way out. Gaunt trying to recapture this camp, just a single one. And it's a lot of weavers here. I think that's trying to counter the vectors for now. And maybe also in anticipation of possibly seeing sabers added a bit later on. Now, sabers are a good addition because of their siege ability, but they are super slow, so these vectors, part of their ability is their maneuverability. Now it looks to me like we lost some. Did I miss? Oh, here's a couple. So it looks like Hyde's broken some of those units off. Unsure if he wants to try and do some sniping here. And indeed retreats. Oh, one vector's caught in the creeps. Just need to delta jump out, buddy. But see, unfortunately for High, he can't see that his unit is there unless he looks at that creep camp because it's hidden on the mini map. So that vector's probably just going to stay there for a while. Might be thinking, where did that extra vector go? Maybe he knows how many vectors he should have. But here he is jumping on top of these shadow demons, recapturing this camp at least. If he does go recapture that camp, he'll free his vector. And what do we have up here? Oh, wow, we have the Fate's End. I didn't see this sneaking in from above, and we did get a melt on that base. Now these, oh, is the Arc Fortress going to go down? It's only at 88 hit points. And yes, indeed it is. There's some Hellborn down there, and they take it out. There's a power bank back here that I was going to. I don't think that's going to be a big problem at this point. But that was an Arc Fortress traded for a Shrine, and you know, the Arc Fortress is definitely a huge investment, but you don't actually mine to it or anything, so all it's doing is delaying more tech, tier 3 tech, if you were trying to get those Archangels or something. We do see Sabers out on the map. Now, is there another Arc? There's almost certainly another Arc ship out, but there it is. It's already an Arc station. So, yeah, not a huge loss. And there we see another Arc ship going down. So, High took the loss, but I think delaying the mining there on the natural is certainly good damage. So, maybe it's a fair trade. It's not clear. Now, these vectors are looking a little low, at least that one. There's an imp goes walking by. Oh, gee, you don't like to see that. This is one reason why I don't use that mass rally that a lot of folks will do, because it gives away to your hidden bases. Those imps, you know, why weren't those imps rallied right there when they're coming from that base? But it's not clear that High noticed that imp walking by and may not have, you know, registered. That may have been macroing at the time. Holy moly, this is what I was talking about. This is the Saber transition, and bye-bye Gaunts. You're just going to melt to that. And even these Weavers can do okay, but at the moment they're lashing in vectors. Ooh, now they're lashing in Argent. Trying to get back onto that Shroud so they can get a little speed boost. Now the Sabers have Mass Accelerator, which is their ability that, look at them nose diving into the cliff there. But that's the ability that allows them to speed up. They also have a heal ability that lets them regenerate rapidly. Can't remember what that one's called. Do we have... So this is the upgrade that will self-repair, I guess it's called. But it will increase both of those abilities' effectively if you go ahead and get that upgrade. So we'll see if that's added. I think that would be wise when you're effectively going mass Saber. I wish I had a count to tell you how many there are here, but it looks like it's at least 15, maybe closing in on 20 Sabers. And yeah, apparently this base did not go unnoticed by High, and High is now deciding, I'm going to melt it. In fact, bringing in the Arc ship too. And what happened there was, I think the Morph Core tried to take this base, and then we saw Flame Imp detonate the collection array, so a little bit of reverse damage, or a little bit of cost incurred for this expansion. But the Arc ship just puts down another collection array, so High is going to be taking this base. And this mass Saber play is at least daunting enough that we've noticed that TheoRy has not tried to attack into it. And we do see Spriggans added now, and I think this might be the right answer, almost has to be the right answer. Which is the Sabers cannot hit Spriggans. So hopefully we will see some benefit from that Spriggan play. Ooh, here we go. Arc Fortress number 2. But now the Spriggans are already on top of it. However, it's close enough to this base, it can start using its ability, and it is going to do it. There's so many Hellborns here. Will they be able to kill it before it melts the base? Yes! Wow, we've actually finally seen it, the counterplay to the Arc Fortress, which is 10 Hellborns plus some Spriggans and some Gaunts. Basically a whole death ball. But here are some vectors. Are they just on a parade? They were just parading through the imp line, saying, no business here. There's 28 imps mining Therium here. I don't think TheoRy's going to have to worry about this. What he's teleporting a couple of his newly produced weavers into the front line just to get them there a little bit quicker. Now, are these sabers, can they hit from the other side of this wall? It looks like they are able to melt. They killed 8 of those imps. And it looks like TheoRy's trying to get a flank, which would have been great, but the army was not there. It has instead slowly maneuvered itself back over here, where there is another base going down. And this is going to have to be cancelled, although it's almost finished. No, immediately cancelled. So good reaction time from TheoRy. And it's this... So I guess there was a collection array there that these Spriggans found, and they took it out. And now we might actually have some conflict up here. Weavers here close enough to get some good slashes. We see some Molten Touch coming down. There are Kree for a front line. The Sabers in the back are just going to melt these units. They do a little mass accelerator to move up on top of them. The Hellborn are trying to use their attacks to get some kind of damage done. But there's just so many Sabers here. We do see Spriggans on top trying to focus fire down the Sabers. There are also Scythes there to deal with them, as well as Argents. But so many Sabers, there's just melting the units in the back there. We're starting to see the Hellborn all go down. There's only 3 remaining, but a Dragon shows up. Now, a Dragon is definitely a good addition here. In fact, if this turns into just a pure air switch for TheoRy, this could go really well. He has a ton of Therium, remember, so he can definitely dump into some high-tech units. Lots of Fiends showing up now thanks to the Dragon and its Dragon Breath. These Fiends are going to be able to chase down some of these. And now some Kree managing to get to the front line, and Kree are going to do a good job helping to clean up some of those Fiends. So, TheoRy, up on his heels there for a second until that Dragon showed up and managed to help him turn the tide there. And High has to retreat back. Maybe about a third of his Saber force preserved. And what he's going to need to do now is make a tech switch. So we see more vectors out. We see more Kree also rolling out. These are all good against the Fiends. And the vectors are going to be good against the air. So they're a little bit anti-air. I think more Scythes might be good, although I'm not sure exactly how effective Scythes are in their supposed anti-air role. What's going on here? An Aeon Gate. But the Spriggans have found this Arc ship, and they take it out as well. Now, the Aeon Gate, is it invisible while it's being summoned? Because the Spriggans just left it there. Or maybe the Spriggans have decided they need to come and take out this base. This base was triggered, remember, after we saw High take out this base. And now the Aeon Gate has unloaded and a bunch of invisible units have showed up right on top of the Elder Shrine. They're going to try and nuke the Elder Shrine. It's almost down to half-life here. The Sabers have got out. Now the Flame Imps trigger and they get some good detonations, but it's not clear how many units they took out there. Some Weavers return, but not in time to save the Elder Shrine. And can they load back into the Aeon Gate really fast? I'm not sure what the speed is here. Ooh, they zip right back inside there. And yeah, they are safe inside the Aeon Gate with a sweet snipe into the production of TheoRy. That is a really cool move by High. And I think High here has come to compete. He is not going to go down lightly in this first match. And even though TheoRy does have the supply lead, High has dealt a very devastating blow to TheoRy's production and his tech. Now let's see if he's gonna... So he does have a Greater Shrine already re-upgraded over here, and we'll see if he takes that back up to Elder Shrine. He does have a lot of the upgrades from Tier 3. But Tier 3, remember, does unlock the Dragon, and if he does want to go to a second Dragon here, which is something that he can do actually right now if he had the tech and the cooldown had completed, which it may have. This Dragon's been out here for a while. Then you could have 2 Dragons on the map, and 2 Dragons actually can be almost unanswerable. They can do a lot of damage. One Dragon turns matches like we already saw, or turns battles. So 2 dragons can really mess you up. One can be harassing you in your base, creating fiends out of your workers. Well, that was a huge little cry. I'm not sure what that was. What dies like that? All right, so a little bit of creep, a little pause for creeping here. Where's this army going? We got another Arc Fortress headed out. I love this commitment. I mean, this tech is in the game. You might as well use it. It's particularly good against Infernal. Now here we have a big battle. Actually, all of a sudden they turn to fight with each other. That Arc Fortress there actually is just a huge tank at the moment. Not to mention it adds some healing. It doesn't have any attack ability, but units they just sort of accidentally target it. Some prioritize it, especially if you put it out in the front there. So unless you're microing your units, you're not going to. You're going to be wasting a lot of your DPS basically. And it looks like TheoRy is managing to push into this army. There's still a bunch of sabers on the back that are doing a ton of damage. We also see that the Spriggan Force and the Air Force has been dealt with to some extent by some of these anti-air units, the Argents and the Vectors. Now these poor Weavers, actually, it looks like High decides not to pursue them. And they turn to regroup here on the Shroud. And this is unfortunate as we see a lot of... Oh, a nice stun from the Harbinger. That means these Harbingers have been upgraded to activate their stun ability, and it's a full 1 second stun, I think, so it's actually can be quite devastating to units, especially if your units are trying to flee or run away. And now these last sabers, there we see it again, a full 1 second, so it's a huge amount of time that your units can get some DPS out. And now we're going to see this base going down. This is another arc shift here. It looks like it was under production, and this base is just gonna melt. What do we have up here? Oh, there's the Arc Fortress again. And is it gonna get this base? Almost certainly it does. But at what cost? As these lightning wings on the Spriggans and the Dragon come flying in, and boom, and that's gonna be a GG called from High in this exciting game number 1. Okay, here we are into game number 2, and this is going to be our Blue Celestial player High with his surged Archship already flying out on the map. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. And his opponent, winning a scrappy first game, is Aftermath's TheoRy in the red Infernal. We see he's opened with a Conclave, which is a safer opening versus Celestials, because Celestials have lots of different cheese they can do, and one of those cheese is maybe what we're seeing here, which is flying the Archship across the map to turn into an Arc Fortress and melt your base and just GG right off the bat. We'll see if that's what we're going to see here. But what we do see here is this Hexen goes in. I like the skull play. She checks to see if there's Therium mining, sees none, and that is usually an indication that there is going to be that tier 3 rush. Instead, what we're having here is one of the oldest Celestial strats on Secluded Grove. This is an old map, and even back in the Frigate playtest, which I'm sure my non-disclosure agreement is now over on, this was pretty much the go-to opening for Celestials on this map, which was go to the center, build all the bases in the middle, try and take a safe spot. And back then the meta wasn't super well developed, so folks didn't realize they can knock these trees right away with imps. I mean, everyone kind of knew that was possible, but that meta had not yet developed. And so this was a pretty damaging play, and back then there was not as much balance as we have now, so Celestials love this eco play. And we're seeing 3 collection arrays. Was this also in 1? So we have 4 collection arrays now. This is just a variant on a standard opening. The standard opening would be 3 arrays into a creation chamber. Here we've got 4 arrays. Maybe I don't think we've seen a creation chamber out yet. Nope. But we do have 4 Gaunts out for TheoRy, and that could be annoying if he decides to be aggressive, and he's moving through these woods, which is an interesting play. Maybe he's heading straight here. We do see our first creation chamber on the way here. It's interesting that I is knocking down these trees. And the fiends are already here. They're gonna, and he's just left the fiends, so the fiends are just gonna do the damage. Well, the rest of the units are gonna go look for, I assume going for the main, because I think he must know that there's no natural there. Okay, he is checking. And we haven't had any response yet on this collection array. We either have to have it lift off or a Sarvin's Watch, and we do see a Sarvin's Watch, which is an unfortunate use of power as these units also get into the main here. We're going to see this one lift off, but there are Gaunts here which can obviously hit air, and there is a Hexen here who can shoot a Skull of Shedda and give vision to the high ground. So that's what we see that Skull of Shedda doing there. Now, can it get out of range of the Gaunts? Yes, it can. So it is safe for now. But this creation chamber and strike node or link node are going to go down. And the Starman's Watch here managed to keep that array alive. But we're going to see, ooh, a brute show up here, but there's a strike node. And that strike node is definitely going to clean that up. Now I see some more movement. We do have Argents here. I think they pushed out to maybe be aggressive, but there's no base there. This is one base play from TheoRy, and we've got now the Gaunts on the high ground. There's a surge going down on the strike node, which is going to allow it to fire faster. I believe it also gives it some armor. Nope, it gets detection, and it has a higher attack speed. Now there's also a Sarvin's Watch melting so many of these Gaunts. The collection array goes down, but at what cost? That was a great deal of dead Gaunts there. Lots of Gaunt guts up at the high ground there. And now these Argents actually get on top of the smaller strike force on the low ground. Because TheoRy's units are split apart, these Argents are going to be able to kill these brutes off and then maybe take care of these reinforcements as well. Yeah, they just move to get on top of the Gaunts. They're going to focus the Gaunts, actually taking a lot of hits from these brutes. Brutes hit heavy, but then running away. Now, okay, 2 Gaunts remain up here. And the Argents do now turn to fight the brutes. I do think that this all-in play from TheoRy has not got the damage necessarily that he needed. One thing that's good here is he's delayed the mining on this, so it's as though he's killed that array. But we already have another Morph Core to replop this array. These arrays have been going the whole time, and there has been an Argent force that's been produced that's now out on the map cleaning up all of these little strike forces. And now we see TheoRy trying to kind of get back in it by doing some creeping. There's 2 Gaunts here just keeping that array from being able to land. But now they're going to get cleaned up. What do we have here? A farm. Okay, so now maybe going to try and push into the center of the map. And what do we have here? There is a Sovereign's Watch going down, and it's just going to be a straight GG from TheoRy. Alright, yo, 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 yo. Good luck, have fun. This is going to be game number 3 between these two, and this is, again, Aftermath's TheoRy in the blue Infernal. And his opponent here, and of course I get the click bug every once in a while. See if I got it. There, back at it. Okay. And his opponent is going to be HYY High. This map's going to be on Lost Hope, which is certainly an interesting map. I feel like it's kind of a love it or hate it map. I happen to like it. I know as an Infernal player, it's a little bit hard to get Therium on this map, unless, of course, you just go in the middle where there's just a whole bunch of Therium and you can get as much as you want. That's just makes, I feel like the flow of the game on this particular map is pretty fun and interesting. So we'll see what happens here. We're up to 2 arrays to start from high, and it looks like maybe a 3rd one about to go down. And it's 2 production structures again from TheoRy. I wonder if he is going to try something all-inny again. I hope not. Did not work for him last game, so it's probably going to be to his advantage to play a little bit more macro. I mean, just a little bit more macro than all in. It's just a normal gameplay. So let's see if he does that. We'll just see what the timing is on his second base. At the moment, we haven't seen a brute come out of that vault, which indicates he's probably going to put down his base here. Oh, did we see the brute now? Okay, we do see a brute actually. So maybe he was just saving up some funds there. He is up to 200 Luminite. And no, pumping more gaunts. So he is staying on the one base for now and producing units. And there is a choice here in the early game. Of course, I'm commenting here on the choice of what do you spend your Luminite on? Do you spend it on more brutes and gaunts, or do you spend it on putting down a shrine, which we now see the shrine going down? There's also the calculation of what do I spend my Therium on? And this can be a common choice for early Infernals, which is, do you spend it on more gaunts, or do you start putting down your Ritual Chamber to start getting that Plague Axe's upgrade? Because your Ritual Chamber also costs Therium. And what do we see here? A Ritual Chamber, as I mentioned. So we do see the Ritual Chamber going down. Now what's going on back home for high? We do see some Therium mining here. And we're on 3 arrays. It doesn't look like a 4th has been added yet. 2 creation chambers, both surged. We are surging Argent production at the moment, so it looks like it's going to be creation chamber and Argents for an opening. I can imagine that transitioning into Creed. We'll see. But again, it's been a lot of units also out of TheoRy, and we see more streaming across the map. Now, what's going on here? What are you doing, buddy? Oh. This was already chopped down? I did not notice. That is a TheoRy special if I've ever seen it. TheoRy will send his imps down to chop down trees. It's almost as though TheoRy's imps are born with an axe in their hand. They want to be gaunts, and they just go out and chop down trees. So we'll see what happens there. Now what's happened is that Gaunt's gone to scout that base and found there is no base there. And I wonder what that tells TheoRy here. We do see TheoRy having now taken 3 different health camps and 2 speed camps. He's going to have so many little buffs on his units should there be an engage. And indeed, he sees that High is starting to creep this camp. The rest of his army was too far away for him to actually do some damage there. But he did get some fiends in the back. And he's going to probably just scout with them, I imagine. It's not a lot of damage you can do there. Actually, he is just going to go for an array. And we see immediately High summoning in a link node and a power bank with the nice SimCity to protect it. I don't think it's going to upgrade soon enough to stop them, although the Argents do get back in time. And okay, so TheoRy's regrouped back at his base, and like I mentioned, he has all these buffs. He's got this double speed buff, he's got the triple health buff, which means his units are going to just be a little bit, more effective than they normally would be in the battle. And he's now going to rob the energy buff from High, which is important because High is on Argent tech, and Argents need that energy regen if they can. So the Argents, as you see there, they're going to try and retake this camp. But I wonder if that is bait from TheoRy here, if he's basically saying, come and take it so I can jump on your army and get some damage done. Although, this is... Okay, so this looks like it's a creeping play. He has his units ready, but he hasn't chosen to, execute an attack yet. I wonder what that's about. Maybe looking for upgrades. We did see the Ritual Chamber. Is this Plague at Reaper's Rush? So he might be waiting for that. So we saw that the Ritual Chamber was a little bit later because he was building units and expanding early. But with the later Reaper, or with the later Ritual Chamber, ooh, this could be a good fight here. He does get a little bit of surround. It's not clear that High noticed that. Yeah. So what happened there is Theory kept all his units on move command so that he wasn't going to trigger any alert to high like you're under attack until they were surrounded, and once they were surrounded then he attacked. That meant he was able to get all those units, and this could be it because that was most of the army. This is a tough choke to fight into, and there's an Archangel already out. This Archangel is scary enough that the Gaunts go running away. A few Gaunts here caught in this armor's watch. They get aggroed in, and now they're going to actually get wiped out. No, Theory does find them, tries to pull them back as well, and actually saves 2 of them. I think... Oh, we missed. So many guts up there. It looks like the Archangel did crash down and kill some Gaunts. And now we're probably going to see some Archangel harass. Oh, and of course, along with Tier 3... Oh, we missed. One of the bases already went down. Oh no, Theory. This is going to be the second base down, and I don't know if he has an answer to this now. He is going to be able to take out the Arc Fortress. It is going to explode. Boom. Come on. Boom. There we go. Okay. But there's another Archangel in his base just chewing on imps. And it picks up to flight again. A couple Spriggans out, but he's only got this one mining shrine, and there's barely any imps there. Actually, no, he has re-rallied. He's got a full mine there because both of his mining bases were taken out. Both of his expansions, I should say, and now he does have to do damage. This may, if he loses this game, it might be because he didn't push in earlier in the game when he had the opportunity. We saw him wipe out those Argents there when he got a good surround on them. If he had done that maybe, a couple minutes earlier and just pushed in through the hole in the woods that he had opened up, maybe he would have delayed the Archangel tech and the Arc Fortress tech. And at the moment, he has to recover both his bases. He might have the imps there, although it's not clear that the Archangels didn't wipe them out. But he has to get his economy back up so he can build the shrines. He now has money to build another shrine. Is he going to? Yeah, so this shrine... Oh, so he went double shrine. Okay, so he is trying to get back in it. And the one saving grace is he didn't really lose his army. He's got his army. He took some damage from the Archangel, but... he didn't actually lose his army, and after killing the Arc Fortress, that means no more Archangels, at least until another Arc Fortress comes out. Now what do we see here? Another Archangel. Okay, so maybe we are up to Arc. This is an Arc Station. One thing that High has not been shy about is making second Arc ships and creating them, and maybe even preemptively making them into Arc Stations. I think if I was going to be doing that with my Fate's End play, flying my Arc Fortress across the map, I'd want to have a backup Arc Station already, sitting back at home in case I lose my Arc Fortress. And what's better than one Arc Fortress melting bases? How about 2? Why don't you just fly 2 in there, or 3 or 10? I don't know what the cost is on 10, but in terms of melting buildings, they're one of the most effective things in the game. So now we're getting a little skirmish here, and it looks like Theory's trying to use the power of his army to maybe get some good trades. I think that High here does have this interesting composition. We've got vectors which are going to be good against the air. They're microable, and they can maybe jump on top of some of your other units like your Gaunts and such. You've got that Archangel above, which is also pretty good anti-air. It does melee damage in the air, but it also can do its great meteor strike. Then you've got these sabers in the back, and they are able to fire from so far away and get that great splash damage. And then just a little bit of Argent mixed in there. So it's a pretty good army. Now we have a Weaver here, which goes and grabs one of those vectors in. And, I think the composition we see from Theory is also a nice, unique mix. We're really just going to see how these compositions work against each other as they clash. Maybe here we see it again. We get a scan just to see the positioning of those units. And it looks like Theory's going to move to the center of the map, try and take out this camp for more vision. And I think High's been kind of being defensive around the energy camp here. Again, I mentioned how they're useful for a lot of celestial units, in particular the Argents, as well as any casters. And for the moment, it looks like it's mostly Argents that will benefit from this. I wonder if it also works on arc ships and arc stations. This would be an arc, almost arcs. Oh no, that's a prism coming out. I thought it was almost upgraded. It can't fly when it's upgrading. I should have noticed that. So it looks like the arc station's just been brought along to provide, as I mentioned before, that tanking ability. It'll just be taking damage that could otherwise be spent on units, as well as it casts the healing spell. And that healing spell is mostly useful out of combat. I believe if you take damage, if the unit takes damage, it cancels the spell. So it works best with micro. If you can micro your units back out of damage, and then they'll get the healing spell cast on them and they'll heal up. So far it's just positional play here. TheoRy not willing to give up this high ground, and High not willing to give up the energy camp. And we do see TheoRy with an interesting base up here, sort of ninja base across map. And a couple more lashes going down on vectors, but it looks like High is going to try and push up the ramp here. We got a huge Archangel Meteor Strike going down, and then we got a turn and fight, but look at how many units are being melted by those sabers. There's so many sabers here, and they get that great splash damage when you're fighting up against a concave, especially a concave of gaunts like this. They really start to melt gaunts. And there we go. We see almost all those gaunts going down in 1 or 2 volleys. But it looks like a lot of the front line of High has been dealt with too. We're seeing lashes going down on the sabers. But no, the sabers stay and keep to fight, and it's TheoRy that has to turn and run. Now, where are TheoRy's units going? There are no bases up there, of course. We know that. He might not. And, wow, okay, this is going to be a slow push. That's still an arc station. And cleans up the shroud on the high ground, puts down some link nodes. Now, link nodes build so fast, and then they produce a power field for you. And now we see blast node, strike node, strike node. This is going to be a hard position to push into. And TheoRy did just take those losses. Now we see that TheoRy's built up a huge supply lead again. And it is largely sabers here. But look at this defensive matrix they're building up around them of strike nodes. We do have now that dragon. And remember how the dragon played out in game number 1. Managed to turn the tides. Especially against this heavy saber force. Oh no, that Hellborn gets caught out of position and she gets melted. Bunch of imps joining this, and I think I know what. Oh no, they're heading out. It looks like to go do some expo. I thought they might have just been flaming on, because the other thing that TheoRy's imps really like is to flame on. Now what's going on here? These units are okay. They were creeping. Like, why did they all sort of derp up here? They wanted to come take this camp out. Interestingly, leaving this front a little bit unprotected here, and these strike nodes and link nodes can kind of slowly push forward, and we see an Aeon Gate going down. So Aeon Gate is tier 3 tech. Is there an Arc Fortress somewhere? An Arc ship. Maybe once you trigger that, it doesn't go away? I don't know. This is still an Arc Station over here, right? Interesting. Okay, maybe I don't know what's going on there, but we do see an Aeon Gate. Oh, that's not an Aeon Gate. The Guardian Nexus. Haha, that's why I'm confused. My bad, my bad. Now, why would there be a Guardian Nexus at the front line like this? When you surge your Guardian Nexus, all the buildings around it get bonus to armor. So what we're going to see here is this just makes this an even harder defensive matrix to push into. Now we're finally getting a little bit of a push here. These Gaunts, again, not doing great against Sabers, but they are, for the moment, being able to get in and get some pretty good damage. For the Sim City here might be working against High, as his Sabers are sort of clogged up here. Weaver's getting a couple good lashes down. It looks like a lot of the Spriggans have been cleaned up. And now it is the Dragon doing most of the damage from the air. A couple more Spriggans join in, and these Gaunts actually are staying alive. Weaver's doing the tanking. And this position might be broken. And indeed, it's the Dragon doing a lot of extra work here. Not a lot of anti-air against this Dragon. It is now lost its white health. But this top position, the hardest position with the Blast Node, is going to be taken out. And I'm not sure what High has to answer this. In fact, he has a GG. Alright, here we are into game number 4 of this best of 5 series. Again, this is in the semifinals of the Alpha Navigators Cup Season 2. And High here in the blue Celestial with his surged Archship already moving out on the map, trying to force the final game in this series. His opponent in the red Infernal, Aftermath's TheoRy, has won his 2 games with a Dragon entering into the play in the late game and helping to turn the tide. So we will see what kind of performance we're going to get out of these two today. This Archship still moving, not surged anymore. Interesting choice, so definitely some power management there on High's part. So surged it for a bit to fly out. Now TheoRy's gone and scouted. He did see the first collection array. He sees the second one. He sees no Therium mining, but he doesn't find an Archship. The Archship, interestingly, moved out there, dropped off a Morph Core, and is now flying back into the natural. And it's not clear if TheoRy got a good scout out there and knows what's going on there. So we are going to have a ninja base over here. And you might see, does that mean High is going to go for a more consistent eco play like he did in game number 2? Where he went up to 4 arrays, I think, before Creation Chamber. No, he's going to go with the Creation Chamber here. So 3 array into Creation Chamber. Again, I think this is a fairly standard opening for a Celestial. The only difference here, one of his Creation Chambers is on that ninja base. And these island bases are not accessible by ground. You can only get to them by air. That makes them awesome bases for Celestials. And to be honest, I don't think I've actually seen many games where they've been taken by, say, an Infernal or a Vanguard. They're kind of just special bases for the Celestials. And we've got Fiends out. Where's this one going? This one's going over here. Okay. So this is the problem. He's out trying to scout these other maps, and he's just not going to be able to scout. Oh, wow. Okay, TheoRy. This is why you're a pro player. I mean, okay. Kudos to TheoRy. Thrown out that skull, and does that skull survive long enough to scout this collection array? He's got his fiends going all over the map. He's had a fiend visit every single one, and he sees this array here. Now, here's the thing. Unless he actually moves his minimap here, he cannot see that on the minimap. There's no blue dot. So just because he's sent the scout over there, he still has to orient his camera over there. But yeah, good scouting work so far from TheoRy. What else do we see here? We have a Guardian Nexus out, rollout, boom, just finished. And it's double creation, triple creation chamber here. And we're going to see pre-play to open. And that can be kind of dangerous. This fiend is just on probably patrol. Let's see, does it tell? Yes, okay. So we can see by his command here that this is a patrol command to go between these 2 arrays. Perfectly pointed too. Like, I might just click here in the middle, but he's clicked it right on the mines, so it'll go right up to it. And I believe when you're on patrol like that, you will attack. So if a Morph Core goes there and makes a array and the fiend comes, it will attack. Now these Kree are rolling out, roll out. as Ludacris said. Rolling out across the map. And for the moment, creeping this camp. This is an interesting play. If this was an aggressive play, I think you might bypass the camp and just roll into your opponent's base and try and get some kills. By taking the camp, you sort of telegraph that that's what you're doing, giving your opponent a little bit of a chance to respond. And indeed, here we see a little response from a Weaver already. And now these Kree, there's only a single imp there, so they'll get one kill. These Kree, not sure, a couple of them get caught up on the Fell Hogs, but the Fell Hog's not doing a great body block. But the Weaver waiting for the lash to come out again, and oh, those poor imps. Nice maneuverability on the imps. Nice micro, I should say. And oh, all these Kree, one gets a Skull of Shedda. They try and get on top of the Hex, and she's got to pull out of there. There's exploding Kree on top of her. More Kree come rolling in, and they get on top of the Gaunts. Every Gaunt is super low. They just need a single swipe from a Kree, and they're going to go down. The Hexen goes down. It's just the tanking Weaver above. She's just laying down her hoof hits, but that's a double GG out of TheoRy in game number 4. Okay, here we are in the final game, game number 5 of this best of 5 series, and this is going to be TheoRy in the Blue Infernal with his customary yo greeting. If you ever go over to his Twitch stream, just when you drop in, give him a yo. And this is going to be his opponent. Where is his arc ship? There it is. Okay, floating over the speed camp, hidden again by the little icons, is Hai, the red celestial. Both these players with some exciting gameplay so far, but interestingly, TheoRy's 2 wins have been long games, and Hai's 2 wins have been faster games. So I guess we will see here. If this game makes it past the early game, maybe it is in TheoRy's favor. Otherwise, maybe we will see a quick victory out of Hai again. Now Hai's dropped one collection array here, and we notice that his arc ship is still on the move. We will keep an eye on that. And what's going on here? We're going to have Hexen into the health camp. What's he doing there? 2 Gaunts. Okay. And it looks like a full wall here. Yes, we've got carved out the back. So no Hexen Scout this time. It doesn't look like. She just comes straight here. And we're seeing TheoRy doing that nice positioning of his Gaunts, which allows 3 of the slimes to be tanked by the Hexen. The other, each Gaunt has a single slime, and then they focus on the slimes that are targeting the Hexen first so that she doesn't take all that damage, and that allows you to spread out the damage amongst all of your units. And then once you have the healing effect, what that basically does allows you to also maximize the healing effects. It's all of them will be healing. That's basically 3 times the healing effect than if you had a single unit tanking, and then only that single unit is going to be regaining health. So the Fiend scouts out that we're now on triple array. And what happened to our arc ship? I didn't see that. Where did it? Ooh, no, that's a morph core. How come I can't see this? Oh, is this our arc ship? No, that's a morph core. Oh, the arc ship came back to the main to mine some Therium, which is maybe a standard way. Super hidden tech back here, Guardian Nexus. Okay, sort of interesting. Now, maybe the Arc Fortress flew over there to do that. But what that does mean is this Fiend coming in the base isn't going to see the Guardian Nexus. And maybe what we're seeing here is Hai trying... Ooh. Hai's trying to win that game again with the Kree. Doing that same play. And at the same time, we have TheoRy trying to get into the main and do some damage. A single Kree has popped out, and oh, I don't like this for... Yeah, so immediately the Hexen is going to teleport out. And we get a single kill on the Prism. The Prism mine and Therium, that's actually good. That is going to slow down the Kree production. And do we have a single Kree out already? So 2 of those Kree actually having to be built in the main is going to be a problem for High. He has to roll them all the way across the map if he wants to get damage done. We see 2 more Kree popping out, but I don't think he can queue up any more Kree. He has no Therium. I don't know if he's put another imp. There we go. His prisms have come and started mining Therium. He pulled the one off the array here. And TheoRy has returned back to his base, and he's creeping here. Now, one thing that High's going to learn here in a second is this is a full wall. I assume it is. We'll both learn in a second, I guess, if it is or not. When these Kree try to roll in, the only way in is through this spot here, and this is already a fairly defensible. We see it's becoming more defensible here. So here come the Kree. We've got Brutes as a front line, Gaunts in the back. Not a lot of light units to risk that, and again they have this speed camp here, and we saw them just as they walk through that getting that lightning legs buff, making them a little bit speedier, and he does not want to lose that. And yeah, here we have a whole bunch of Kree showing up, and they're going to get on top of this farm, but unfortunately 2 of the Fell Hogs are on the wrong side of the farm, and the Gaunts here are trying to do damage from the back. If the Kree get through, there's a mag here to deal with them, and we've got a flank play. A bunch of Brutes and Gaunts arrive from the other side. We see that the farm actually did go down, and now it's going to be toe-to-toe here. That's not looking good for TheoRy, but here comes the Papa Mag. As all those units go down, the Magmadon's going to come out and chase these Kree back. Ooh, the poor Kree, they run right through the trample, but they're trying to get into the base. We see 1 summon Shroud Stone. They get on top of the imps. Super splits here coming out of the imps from TheoRy. They're trying to get away, trying to get back to the safety of the Shroud Stone. We see Kree going down, another Kree goes down. The imps just trying to preserve their life by microing around this Twilight Spire. More Kree show up, but there is a mag here. 19 imps on Therium. Oh, those poor imps. There's a rollout. Ooh, huge one. A couple imps going down to that. But again, good micro here. Keep the majority of those imps alive. The Kree do take out the Shroud Stone, and it looks like, oh, huge Nightfall infestation. That's going to put slows on them. I'd love to see some of those imps turn and fight. There's some low, but that's going to be GG out of TheoRy. And congratulations to High for some good fast games here to win it in this first semifinals.